Now, correcting your posture doesn't involve a lot of work. It doesn't involve pulling your shoulders back. It doesn't involve standing up straight. When we use those cues, we start actually creating more problems like headaches and the shoulder pain, neck pain, and it just looks goofy. Hey guys, if you're experiencing any problems like the neck pain, shoulder pain, low back discomfort, even digestion problems and breathing problems, chances are you know that you have some posture problems. You know, you're getting that slouch posture, that breakdown, you're working too much in your office chair and things are just starting to tighten up. So what I'm going to show you is the exclusive way to free things up using the Bulletproof posture system. It's a really simple process. A few basic exercises are going to loosen things up with just a few minutes a day and get you out of those cycles of pain that you don't want. You know, things that are holding you back, things that are getting in the way of you living the life that you want. And if it only takes a few minutes a day, that's even better. So some of the main components really of doing this form of exercise isn't just stretching the muscle and tearing it apart and forcing it and working against your body. What we want to do is really work with the system to retrain it, to rehydrate the soft tissue, to encourage everything to move the way that we want it to, as opposed to beating it to a pulp and trying to teach it a lesson. So these exercises are very simple, they're very effective, and they don't cause a lot of pain, which is even more important when you're already in those cycles of pain. Some of the main components that you can be using in the Bulletproof posture system is your respiration. As we breathe in, our body expands, and as we breathe out, it contracts. So when you move into a stretch and you start taking those deep breaths, not only are you nourishing all the cells and the soft tissue in the body with fresh blood and fresh circulation, but you're also forcing the oxygen through your entire system, opening up the connective tissue and engaging a greater stretch for a much more powerful result. And it just feels so much better. Before we start taking a look at how to correct the posture, let's do a quick little examination of what poor posture is. Normally, when a person is standing, they're nice upright, they're not slouched forward, they're not falling forward, they keep a nice upright line. But as we start aging, as we start doing poor posture, as we start doing different sports, we have injuries, we start working at our jobs, we start getting a little bit more into this position. And gradually, as the years go by, we start getting that characteristic, you know, the old man position where we start slumping forward, we start having that neck tension, that constant stress that comes up and builds up and through our shoulders. We have that low back ache, and we start getting degeneration in our discs. Things break down. We start experiencing foot pain and restless leg syndrome. All those types of things start coming from a postural breakdown. So if you're the type of person who is in this position on a regular basis, what we really need to do is focus on bringing you up taller, correct some of those problems, and you'll watch a lot of your pains and problems just start disappearing almost overnight. Now, correcting your posture doesn't involve a lot of work. It doesn't involve pulling your shoulders back. It doesn't involve standing up straight. When we use those cues, we start actually creating more problems like headaches and the shoulder pain, neck pain, and it just looks goofy. It doesn't look natural at all. So instead of focusing on bringing the shoulders back and squeezing them together like the military posture, what we really want to focus on is actually just tucking your chin back a little bit, driving it up to the ceiling, and just lifting the sternum just a little bit. Those little cues will bring your posture back into normal alignment, create a lot of efficiency, and allow the rest of the tissue just to hang off of your spine the way it's supposed to be doing. Now, doing it this way is much more efficient, it's easier, it feels more natural, and it doesn't look as weird as some of the people walking around with their chest pulled back. The other main concern when it comes to a postural breakdown is tension down into the hamstrings and the back of the legs. When we start having tension in the back of the legs, we lose that nice curvature that we have in the back. We start getting that slouch forward. We start getting that tired feeling, that always present aching and fatigue that sits in the low back. That's one of the big things we want to get rid of in order to start moving the way we want to. So the best way to do that is by doing some of the exercises in the Bulletproof posture system, and we're going to run through all those very specifically. They don't take very long, they're effortless, and they're very relaxing. So if there's anything you're going to be doing in your life that involves trying to improve your health, you definitely need to take a look at the system. Now, this is the first phase of the Bulletproof posture system, and it's focusing on stretching out what's called the anterior portion of the body, the anterior line of the entire system. And that runs up from your head all the way down through your legs. And it is really the section that causes us to get into this stooped over position, that tight, compressed, contracted area. And we want to free that up, open it up, and rehydrate the spinal system. As with all these exercises, drive your spine backwards, tip your pelvis, tuck your chin, and press your head up to the ceiling. From here, spread your hands and fingers wide. Hold for 5 deep and slow breaths to really stretch things out and get hydration back into the tissue. First thing we're going to do is tuck our pelvis posteriorly. We're going to tuck our chin back and drive our head up to the ceiling. From here, spread your hands and fingers wide. Turn your hands out, reach up to the ceiling and drive your head and your hands up to the ceiling. Hold for 5 deep and slow breaths to really stretch things out and get hydration back into the tissue. As with all these exercises, drive your spine backwards, tip your pelvis, tuck your chin, and press your head up to the ceiling. From here, spread your fingers wide, turn your hands out. We're going to bring one hand up and one hand down. One drives to the ceiling, the other one drives down to the floor. Take your 5 slow, deep breaths. And from here, we switch hand positions. So the alternating hand is up to the ceiling and the other is down to the floor. And again, we repeat with 5 deep breaths. This is the main exercise for strengthening your abdominals and encouraging good mobility in your hips. Again, we're going to tip our pelvis by pressing your spine backwards. Drive your head up to the ceiling and tuck your chin. Support yourself with one hand against a wall. Now we're going to slowly lift your leg up and slowly drive it back behind you. Nice and slow and controlled. This is to help encourage flexibility and encourage strength as well. Repeat on the other side. Focus on your breathing. Definitely take your time and don't rush through this technique because it is important to do it slow and controlled. This is the final exercise and the easiest one to do. What we want to do is get our hips right up against the wall and bring our legs straight up the wall. From here, we want to make sure our spine is pressed down into the floor. We want our chin tucked and our head pressed away from our shoulders. It's okay to have your knees bent, and it's actually encouraged to start at an easier level, and as things start getting better, then you can start straightening them out. When you come out, bring your knees down and swing your body around. With this exercise, it's to help strengthen and rehydrate one of the spine stabilizers. We come down into your hands or knees, slide one leg back and the other leg forward, sit up nice and tall, and drive your head up to the ceiling. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. And when you do need to come out of it, slide your feet back up together. With this exercise, we're focusing on stretching out some of the diaphragm muscle, the primary breathing muscle in the body. We come onto our stomach and slowly lift ourselves back into extension and focus on taking deep breaths while driving your head up to the ceiling. If you can't come up so far, just come onto your elbows. It's an easier pose, and again, focus on taking your full deep breaths. This is the final stretch of the series to help stretch out and free up some